So tonight, we're honored to induct the 2024 class into the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame, and to give the inductees and the representatives the opportunity to share their stories. 336 outstanding women, men, and horses have been honored in the Hall of Fame, and thousands of visitors from around the world learn about the contributions of those members when they visit the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame and Museum. Being inducted into the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame is the highest industry honor bestowed on both humans and horses. The members have shaped our breed into the largest breed registry and most versatile horse in the world. Through talent, hard work, dedication, and sometimes luck, all have a story to tell. This year's 3 equine inductees achieved successes during their careers and made legendary and significant impacts on the American quarter horse industry. We'll also honor 3 individuals whose horsemanship, ability to spot greatness, and leadership have touched the lives of many horses and humans while shaping the industry and blazing the trail for the lifestyle as we all know it. At this time, I'd like to invite AQHA President and Foundation Board of Trustee member Jim Hunt to the stage for presentations, along with Miss Rodeo America, Emma Cameron, to assist him. Now, let's meet the class of 2024. We begin with Blue Valentine.
Out in ranch country, when talk turns to horses, sooner or later the conversation turns to this or that stallion. But this isn't just any stallion. We're talking Blue Valentine. Bred by Kenneth Gunter of Cochise, Arizona, Blue Valentine was by Redman, one of the best sons of Joe Hancock. The Blue Roan colt was foaled in 1956 out of Beauty's Dream.
Blue Valentine was born in 1956. My uncle Del Heird, who was grew up in southern Arizona. He was good friends with Ken Gunter, who owned Redman, and Redman was the son of Joe Hancock. But Del ended up taking a Blue Roan yearling when they were weaned, and the horses ended up being Blue Valentine. Del Heird, he ended up training him and started roping on him, and Del won the all-around at Scottsdale Rodeo and won the calf roping on Blue Valentine when he was 3 years old.
While Del continued to rope calves, bulldog, team rope, and single steer rope on Blue, other family members also took their turns on him. Blue carried them all through rodeo queen competitions, rodeos, and barrel races, to name a few. Connie Haverty was the daughter of Buster Hayes, who with brother Lori ranched at the Hayes Brothers at Thermopolis, Wyoming. Already having the Joe Hancock stallion Texas Blue Bonnet, the brothers bought half interest in Blue from Del.
Del was a rodeo cowboy and needed some money, and so he sold half interest to Blue Valentine to my grandfather, Buster Hayes, and when he was 4. That's when we first got acquainted with Valentine. And I remember when I was younger, junior high and stuff, I'd go to find my dad, and I'd find Blue Valentine. He'd be just tied right there with all the rest of rope horses. He was just like another gelding.
Hyde Merritt, a National Cowboy Hall of Famer who also roped steers on Blue Valentine, was married to Buster's daughter Dee Dee. Hyde bought the other half interest from Del in the late 60s, while he, Lori's son Vince, and Del were each roping steers on him during this time. Everett Shaw, who rode many great rodeo horses and was a multiple world champion, was flagging the roping at Cheyenne Frontier Days and told Hyde that Blue was the best steer horse at Cheyenne that year. Not only did Blue Valentine have a special place in Hyde and Dee Dee's hearts, he also made a huge impact on their family, particularly their son Chip and his family. Chip has many fond memories of Blue and made sure his children grew up on sons and daughters of his. Like his sire and grandsire, Blue Valentine was good-minded and gentle, and acted like a gelding around other horses. Dell's kids, when they were around 4 or 5, would drop down off tree branches onto Blue's back and ride him without a saddle.
He was always like just another gelding, you know. A couple times or several times my dad would say, hey, we need to go get those mares that he's with. And so we'd take the pickup up there, catch him, I'd saddle him, run his mares in with him. And then we'd get him in the corrals, do whatever we were going to do, and then I'd just take him back to the pasture with him and get through the gate and unsaddle him, and my dad would come pick me up. And I mean, that's the way, it was just normal. There was no nickering and messing around, and he was just, and I think a lot of it was Del Haverty because he was such a great trainer, but a lot of it was the way Blue Valentine was.
In addition to his minded disposition, Blue passed on speed, good bone, toughness, soundness, longevity, and cow savvy, not only to his offspring, but also to subsequent generations of willing and trainable horses.
That grit that he had, we can definitely see it in every colt that we ride, every gelding that we raised, roping them and riding them through rocky pastures and in the hills, and you can for sure see that in them.
Blue Valentine sired only 210 registered American quarter horses before he died in 1980, but the stallion left a heritage measured by superior mares and sons, such as the legendary Gooseberry, Blue's Kingfisher, Ruano Rojo, who sired at least 3 sons that have earned in excess of $100,000 each in arena earnings, Salty Roan, a notable earner on the rodeo circuit and Register of Merit sire, Leo Hancock Hayes, a Register of Merit sire who made a large impact on Blue Valentine's bloodline breeding programs, Rowdy Blue Man, a high-profile sire in Texas, and grandgets such as Blue Fox Hancock, an AQHA champion with 65 halter points and more than 728 performance points.
The one lady, probably 2006, I think she was someone maybe that wanted a horse and finally got maybe her dream horse. She bought a weanling, and she kept like quarterly, every several months she'd send us updates, and she'd write long, long letters of what this horse has been doing. The horse was put through training in jumping, reining. The horse went to many parades, and also she loved to ride this horse in the ocean. So that was the first time I saw the versatility of what other people could do with these kind of horses.
The Merritts were elated when they found out that Blue Valentine would be inducted into the Hall of Fame. They are so proud that his name will be next to the other remarkable horses in the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame.
4 of us were here in the kitchen. Madison had just gotten the call. We all got emotional. Emotional about it because I finally figured out that other people liked him as much as we did. I wish my ancestors could have been around. You know, I called my cousins, the Haverty boys and the Haverty family, and they were just amazed too.
So that's what we're talking about. Out in ranch country, when talk turns to horses, sooner or later, it's talking Blue Valentine. Welcome, Blue Valentine, to the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming Chip and Kathy Merritt and family on behalf of Blue Valentine. Get this out of the way.
Well, thank you, guys. See that little girl right there? That's my granddaughter. She's 7 months old, and I kind of understand baby gibberish, and she told me she wants a blue roan barrel horse. Then this morning she says, you know, I want a blue roan breakaway horse and a blue roan team roping horse. So Brady, you better get started getting those things ready. I really want to. You don't know how we feel about Blue Valentine being inducted in the AQHA Hall of Fame. It's just an amazing honor for us. I feel like we kind of represent the people out there that have, you know, 1 or 2 registered AQHA horses, maybe have 10 mares, have a ranch where they raise their own ranch horses, and once in a while they go to gymkhanas on them, and I feel like we kind of represent those kind of people, which is a good chunk of the AQHA. And I really appreciate that the AQHA is trying to bring those kind of people into the fold. And so I just feel like an honor that Blue Valentine was inducted. But I really want to thank the AQHA Foundation and the Hall of Fame Committee for giving us this honor. Jim Jennings, that iconic picture up there, I wish you and I split the number of times that picture's been on advertisements, but Jim came up and did an article on my dad, and then took that picture of Blue standing in the back lot. I really want to thank Chris and Doug and Matt, the videographers that came to our place. When Chris showed up there, she'd done her homework. She knew a lot about what I was going to say. She asked good questions, and I mean, they all acted like, I don't know if they really cared, but they acted like they did. And Chris, I really appreciate you. You're the best, and don't be yanking me off this stage if I get to talk too long. But I want to thank, main person I want to thank is my wife, Kathy. She's sitting right down here. She is kind of my partner, and she puts up with my horse obsessions. And I want to thank Madison Merritt. She's sitting right down here, the mother of my little granddaughter. But Madison came to me and she says, Chip, we need to get Blue Valentine in the AQHA Hall of Fame. And at the time I thought, man, you know, there's just too many really nice horses out there, and I just don't think we'd have a chance. They don't want our kind of horses. And she says, well, I'm gonna do it anyway. So after a while, Kathy and I kind of jumped on the bandwagon and started helping her out, and she started getting a hold of a bunch of people that had some Blue Valentine horses, and they all wrote good letters, and Madison put together this tremendous presentation, submitted to AQHA, and we didn't hear anything for a while because it was the COVID year, but Madison called him about after a year and said, oh, he's still in the running, you know, we're just gonna postpone it a year. Well, last November, I think, they called us and said he's inducted in the Hall of Fame. I want to thank my sons, Brady and Corey. They're sitting right down here. Brady's the dad of that little girl, and they both ride colts for me and for us, help hold a break colts, help put on our horse sale, and they really want to stay involved with Blue Valentine and our horses. My sister Heidi and her family, they're here, and Heidi is, you guys probably, if you ever are on Facebook, you'll see a post from Heidi. She is on there, and she's talking about our horses, and she comes home to help us hold a break and stuff. So she's kind of an outside looking in, but always there to help us. Then my brother Randy, who can't be here, he was always a part of our family and part of our horses. And then I got my youngest brother, Lori. He's sitting around down here. He's got a whole family full at that table, and 3 boys and 2 granddaughters, and they've got and Lori's got his son Cade's wife is down there, and she's probably the best one of the bunch. But we have a sale every year called Come to the Source Sale, and we started 26 years ago. In fact, we just completed our 26th sale, and we had the best sale we've ever had this year. And I'd want to recognize some of our partners. The main guy is Randy Dunn, who has got a big ranch out west of Laramie. And my dad passed away, was in an accident, passed away, and right after that, the bank foreclosed on our ranches. And I'd had a few horses, we had a few mares and a couple studs, and I didn't know what the heck I was going to do. Randy says, just bring them out to my place. So I really want to thank Randy for that, because I'm not sure where I'd be if I'd had to do this without somewhere to keep them that was safe and easy to deal with. And then Sam Schultz, who was one of our partners, started the sale with us, and he's the one who had that blue roan gelding, or blue roan stud up there that had 700 points in the AQHA shows. I want to thank him for his friendship. And then our last and not least, our partner and friend Dick Van Pelt. Randy's and my banker in Laramie. He found out we were going to have this sale and raising these horses. He wanted to be part of it. I used to tease Dick. I always said, you know, you never met a mare you didn't like. And he'd buy mares. He bought a bunch from Fred Gist and had some of his own. But his wife, Diane, is sitting right down here. And we lost Dick this winter after a long illness. We sure miss him. And then I want to thank our customers that come to our sale. I mean, we'll have 300 sale numbers at our sale, and they go everywhere. Those horses go everywhere, and people come back. They might not come back next year, but they'll come back the year after that. And I want to thank those people. And this is, I think, and I don't know what happens to everybody else, but right after Blue was announced that he was going to be in the Hall of Fame, we got over 1,000 emails, texts, phone calls, and well wishes for that, over 1,000. And then when we, coming down here, I just got call after call after call of people congratulating us and being here. So there's a big following for Blue Valentine out there, and I really want to thank those customers for that. I mean, it's because of them that Blue is where he's at. You reminded me today that I needed to talk about Buster Hayes' horses. His ranch was big, tall hills, and one morning Buster gathered the mares to separate them to go with the studs, and he brought those mares off the top of that mountain down to his place as hard as they could go, jumping over sagebrush and cricks and around trees, and in that set of mares there were Grullias, Duns, Buckskins, Blue Roans, Red Roans, and I haven't seen everybody's horses, believe me, but I don't know if you could ever see a better set of mares than those were. But Hayes's, each brother had about 20 head in his string, and they could do anything on those horses. But anyway, that's the horses that Buster Hayes brought. So when Blue Valentine showed up for my Uncle Dell, that was the mares that he got bred to. And I think that's what's made the longevity of those breedings. And so I think I should talk a little bit about Blue Valentine, he was a great horse, but I think I better get off the stage. How long did I go? Just crap. Just crap. Thank you, Daddy. Thank you. Great stories. Oh, I got to get my courage. Yeah, you better take that with you. You got it. Thank you, sir.
Congratulations, Blue Valentine. Ladies and gentlemen, let's remember Frenchmans Guy.
Over the past 3 decades, there has been one constant among the fastest horses in rodeo, roping, and show arenas: Frenchmans Guy. Frenchmans Guy, or Guy as Bill and Deb Myers call him, showed great promise and athleticism from day one. The Myers knew they had something special in this weanling and had big aspirations for his future.
Well, that horse himself, when you go watch him in his pen, and the athletic moves he made was just unbelievable. He could slide and get up under himself so far, and then the next half a stride be going the other way as fast as he could. And then riding him, it was the feeling that horse had was, not every horse had the feeling that horse had. He had a feeling that was, first of all, super powerful, but also a smoothness in the way he did it. So them two things together made him different than a lot of horses. And then of course his willingness on top of that. But he had a feel about him that was unique, and it was like, it didn't take long from when we broke him to feel that and know that it was there. And like I told Debbie after I'd rode him just a little bit, I said, he ain't no normal horse. This sucker's special. I mean, he's something else.
Bred by James and Frances Louisa of Flandreau, South Dakota, Frenchmans Guy now joins his sire, Son Frost, in the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame. Foaled June 15, 1987, the Palomino colt was out of the Laughing Boy mare Frenchman's Lady, whose dam is Hall of Fame member Casey's Lady Love. Frenchman's Lady is a half-sister to the dam of French Flash Hawk, Christy Peterson's 5-time AQHA Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association Women's Professional Rodeo Association Barrel Horse of the Year. Frenchman's Guy traces top and bottom to Hall of Famer Lightning Barr, who sired Frenchman's Lady's sire, Laughing Boy, and also Son Frost's legendary grandsire, Doc Barr.
We had owned several of his brothers and sisters before him and really liked them a lot. And so that's why we decided to finally, buy him, is because he was just a continuation of them bloodlines that we had already had and rode and liked. So that was what led us to buy him, was just he was from that same mare. They'd bred that mare to some different stallions, and we didn't matter what stud they had bred her to. We liked them colts so much that we just went back and continued to buy everyone we could out of that mare.
Frenchman's Guy went on to sire 1,975 American quarter horses that have earned more than $15 million and earned more than 2,560 AQHA points in working cow horse, team roping, tie-down roping, and pole bending, and scored titles in futurities and derbies across the nation and several foreign countries. The South Dakota Quarter Horse Association Legacy Horse in 2022 and the Casey Tibbs Foundation Rodeo Animal Athlete of 2018, Frenchman's Guy is represented by 9 horses sporting nearly a dozen, and counting, AQHA World and Reserve World Championships. The stallion also sired numerous Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association and WPRA champions, including Guys Girls Are Tough, a National Western Steer Wrestling Champion, by PRCA World Champion Steer Wrestlers Tyler Weigerspach and Tyler Pearson. And the list goes on and on. Not only did Guy leave a legacy to the world, but he left a legacy to the Myers children as well.
My first ever rope horse was a son of Frenchmans Guy, and he was by Frenchmans Guy and out of a mare named PT Bubbling Creek, and he came from the Tierneys. And I started riding him when I was an 8th grader and filled my permit on him, made the amateur finals on him, mounted limitless amounts of my friends out on that horse. And I heeled and roped calves on him, so he was just an all-around athlete. And to this day, I still have not had a horse as good as that horse.
It's progeny records that put great sires and dams in the Hall of Fame. It was an accident as a yearling which cost the colt his right eye that put Frenchmans Guy on his path to the Hall.
As a yearling, we took and turned him out at a friend of ours' place. He's got a ranch south of Rapid City there, Don and Jerry Fish. And we didn't get him back in till he was coming 3. So he kind of developed his own, his own way of taking care of himself by himself out in the pasture, and apparently adapted to not having but one eye real well, because he come back and he was just like pretty much a normal horse as far as the way he moved and the way he did things and the way he responded to things, and he adapted real well to that, not having that eye.
After he lost that eye, Deb and Bill thought they'd try to keep him as a stallion and make him a riding horse. It wound up being a blessing, because they probably would have sold him as a high-priced gelding if he had not lost that eye, and there wouldn't be a Frenchman's Guy with us today. So the Myers family saddled Guy and went to work. It was amazing how easy it was to train him, Bill says. It was really impressive how he responded to us. Even blind on one side, he carried his head real straight, and he was light-sighted and very responsive. Bill trained Guy for barrels and ran him in futurities as a 5-year-old. Debbie then took the reins in amateur and pro rodeos, where they excelled.
It was just so easy for him. I mean, he just went out there, it was so easy for him. So I thought, okay, I'll go ahead and haul him. So I hauled him. And as far as his not having that right eye going to the first, I always tried to kind of cock his head a little bit going into the arena so he could kind of see where that first barrel was. But, his deal was like, I just want to get it over with and get on where I can see, because he would take an awesome first barrel.
In the meantime, Guy was catching sight at rodeos, stepping up from a $300 breeding fee and 6 quarter-horse foals in 1991. The young stallion was on his way. The Myers family feel blessed and humbled to know that Guy touched the lives of their family, friends, and people they didn't even know in such a huge way. He has left an enormous impact in the horse world and in the hearts of many. Frenchmans Guy died August 15th, 2021.
I don't know why God wanted us to have that horse, but I'm very thankful that he wanted us to have him, because it was definitely a blessing from God that horse come into our life, because of all the good things that happened to us and even our friends and people that we didn't even know.
I feel very blessed that this honor was, put on Guy, and really it's the family. It's not just Guy, because the family's why he's here, and I'm a part of that, and so are my brothers. So it's pretty humbling to sit back and talk about it, assess what has happened, right, and what continues to happen.
The American quarter horse world agrees, and on it goes. The sons and daughters of Frenchmans Guy have themselves sired and produced progeny that so far have earned more than $20 million, continuing on as the fastest horses in rodeo, roping, and show arenas. Congratulations to Frenchmans Guy for being inducted into the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame.
Please help me in welcoming Bill and Debbie Myers and family, accepting on behalf of Frenchmans Guy.
tried to get Jim Hunt to do this for me, but I couldn't talk him into it. So here goes. I'd rather haul square bales than do this. The video kind of told the story of him, so I don't need to say much more than that. I just wanted to thank a lot of people that were involved in his early career and throughout his career, because it takes a lot of people and effort from a lot of different directions for a horse to get as popular as he did. We was told at the beginning of his career that he was kind of off the beaten path and that he probably wouldn't ever be very popular because he was up there in the middle of nowhere in South Dakota, and we thought, well, whatever, I guess we'll see what happens. And so anyway, it's been quite a journey, and we've enjoyed it immensely. Deb and I both were horse crazy when we grew up, loved horses. Both of us had a lot of passion for it, and thankfully our family has also developed that growing up around them and been involved, and that's probably the biggest reason that we've been able to have success. It's been a family operation. We've had a lot of good people we've hired also, but the family, they're there year in and year out, and that's what we're very thankful for is our family participation in our program. So, like I said, I don't know why God wanted us to have him, but very, very thankful he chose us to have him, because he was a blessing for sure. My wife, she helped promote him. She won on him, and just promoted him after she won on him to a very high degree. She's very good at that. Done a wonderful job. She loved that horse so much, it was unbelievable. So I want to thank the AQHA so much for this award and being involved in letting us be involved with this room full of people. So many great horsemen and horsewomen that are here. It's an honor to be recognized with the people that are here. Larry Larson is the driving force behind putting all this information together in getting him nominated, and he did a wonderful job, went above and beyond, put in hours and hours of research, and Larry's been a lifelong friend. He's been involved in our horse sale, took wonderful pictures for us his whole life to help promote our horses, and just can't say enough thank you to Larry. Early in when we first started having our sales, Jay George from Kansas, at that time he lived in South Dakota, he helped us start our sales and taught us a lot about how to have a sale, and he was a major contributor to our success in our program also. And then Francis Loise's mares. I seen him when I was in high school at the racetrack when I loped racehorses. Seen them mares, and I thought, if I ever can raise horses, I want them to look like them mares. And thankfully, we was able to do that. There were so many people that rode and bred to him that I can't name them all. I just want to name a few that were kind of at the forefront of his career. Lynn Core rode a horse by the name of Cream Rises for Fred and Clara Wilson from Newcastle, Wyoming. He was the very first futurity winner by Guy. And then Lori Shear and her daughters, they was early on that horse's road to proving that he was competitive enough to compete with the big picture, the big bunch of horses that out in the whole United States. They believed in him. They had some great mares they bred him to, and it was they helped so much to get him going. Christy Peterson and her daughter, they were involved. I mean, if it wouldn't have been for Bozo, he brought so much notoriety to Frenchmans Guy because he was his brother. And Jordan, when she was young, she started riding a lot of his colts and won on them right away, and won a lot. And her first NFR horse was a Frenchmans Guy Gildan. So, you know, just that's the part that we're thankful of. You know, one of the biggest things we're thankful of is that we develop friendships and relationships with people through that horse that we wouldn't have been able to develop without him. He made that possible for us. And we have lifelong friends, lifelong business people. It's like I said, it's humbling when you stop and think about it for us. Like I said, my boys, they help in all aspects of it, every one of them, from no matter if it's building something around the place to breeding the mares, to riding the colts. They all pitch in and do their part. So that's really neat to think that hopefully they'll be able to carry this on. John Johnson and Lynn Weishauer were part of our sales team forever, and they believed in our program, believed in our horses. I want to thank them. They did so much to help make Frenchmans Guy well known and popular. I think I'm getting pretty close to being done here. So, Zianne Gallagher, she's been a wonderful asset to our program. She helps promote, she helps Debbie with a lot of stuff in the offices, and she's amazing what she does for our program. I hope I don't leave anybody. I know I'm going to probably leave somebody out here, and I apologize to whoever I did. I enjoyed Chip's deal. I could tell he loves that horse, and he's passionate about what he's done with that horse, his family, and all the other people that I sat in there with today. I was just amazed listening, hearing them say and talk about what they've done in the horse world, because I love people that are in the horse business. They amaze me, you know, their talents and that they've done, and it's been a I don't know what, I wouldn't trade my life for a lot of people. So it's been very good. So anyway, just want to say God bless all of you, and thank you from Frenchmans Guy.
Congratulations, Frenchmans Guy. And now we honor Shining Spark.
Joining his dam and a host of ancestors, Shining Spark takes his rightful place in the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame. Bred to the purple, Shining Spark is a stellar paragon of breeding the best to the best and getting the high mark of being the breeding program of the renowned Hall of Fame horsewoman Carol Rose. By Carol's homebred stallion Genuine Doc, Shiner was foaled January 19, 1989 out of the Mr. Diamond Dude mare Diamond Sparkle, who along with Doc Bar, Lightning Bar, and Blondie's Dude comprise 4 Hall of Fame horses in the first 3 generations of Shiner's pedigree.
When I started raising horses, I had a vision of the kind of horse I wanted to raise. I wanted to raise a beautiful performance horse. That horse had to have conformation, form to function conformation, had a really pretty head, a long neck, good withers, short back, long hip, a lot of stifle and gaskin muscle, good bone. I just picture in my mind what I wanted to have. And my perfect horse has to have that conformation, and then he has to have a good mind. And athletic ability follows. The pedigree is the last thing. Because when I was deciding how I wanted my horses to look and act, I already had the pedigree I wanted. So that wasn't an issue. And a horse, if they're made right, they can stay sound and perform. If they have the mind, you can train them to do what you want them to do.
Carol's first love was the reined cow horse, but since Texas didn't have many reined cow horse competitions back then, she didn't want to send him away from her to be trained. And while Carol would have loved to cut on him, his pedigree wasn't considered cutting bred back then. So they decided to put him in the reining. The question now was, who would take the colt who was so near and dear to Carol's heart?
Somebody mentioned Bob Loomis. So we called Bob, and he had moved to Marietta from Nebraska. And so Bob came and tried him, and he loved him. And he said he would take him. It was about October of his 2-year-old year. And so Bob took him, and of course, I loved him so much. I used to go to Bob's almost every week to watch him. Or I'd take a horse up there and ride. I promised Bob I wouldn't be a pest, but I would be, because I was there a lot. And Bob did a great job with him and showed him at the reining futurity, and he placed 6th in the finals. And we were just thrilled.
Shiner's next big feat was a reserve championship at the Lazy E Classic in Guthrie, Oklahoma. By this time, Carol had started riding reining horses. It was at the same show that Carol won the non-pro and the limited open with the help of Tim McQuay on a mare that Carol had purchased named Walla Walla Wanda. After the Classic, Carol asked Tim if he could officially take Shiner into his program and let her show him on the non-pro.
Last part of April of 1993. So, of course, Tim asked what my goal was, and I said, well, I'd like to take him to the AQHA World Show and show him in the junior cow horse. So he qualified him, and we go to the World Show, and he showed him in the preliminaries and qualified for the finals. And so in the finals, and the place was packed. You know, the reining was very popular at the World Show, and the place was packed, and the very first horse to show in that class was Boomernick. And Boomernick had won he had won the futurity, he had won the Lazy E Classic, and he first horse to go when he scored a 225. The last horse to go was Shining Spark, and he did a fabulous job. I mean, just fabulous. But you know, I'm watching, thinking he's not popular like Boomernick, and Boomernick's already scored the 225. And when the announcer, he was through, the announcer said 227, but the announcer also added a half, but I didn't hear that. When he said the 227, I was gone, and I ran down the ramp and ran to the back, and I was so excited. And when all the hoopla kind of settled, picture taking was over and the interviews and all that, I said, can you imagine he scored a 227, and Bobby Lewis was with me, and he said, Carol, 227 and a half. I never heard the half. I was too excited.
Shining Spark struck the spark and ignited a bloodline that set new standards in value. Shiner has sired 1,432 American Quarter Horse foals, progeny that earned more than 39,000 AQHA points, 40 AQHA World Championships, and more than $10 million in cash, mostly in the National Reined Cow Horse and National Reining Horse Associations. He is already in these associations' Hall of Fame.
I am so proud of those. There's over 700 point earners. They have earned 39,000 points in 27 Western performance events plus halter. And that's just, it's incredible. It just shows the great versatility of Shining Spark's babies.
Doing equally well with succeeding generations, Shining Spark has been a leading grandsire on both the paternal and maternal sides. A leading broodmare sire of reining horses, the stallion has led Q Data in NRCHA standings as a maternal grandsire of reined cow horse money earners, including, as of 2021, 6 of the all-time top 10 earners.
When I received the call that Shining Spark was going to be inducted into the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame, it was unbelievable to me. A dream come true. It was just, I didn't really know what to think. In 1996, Diamond Sparkle, his dam, was inducted into the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame. In 2010, I got the call that Carol Rose, was going to be inducted, and at the same time, a horse I had named Zan Parbar. So we were inducted together in 2010, and that was just unbelievable and so much fun. And now, with Shining Spark going in the Hall of Fame, that makes 3 of my horses and myself, and I don't know what to say about it. Things like that, they take care of them. If you do your job, things like that take care of themselves. I guess with Shining Spark, it's so special because I raised him.
To Carol, Shining Spark is unparalleled as a friend. What Shiner means to her and what he means to the American quarter horse industry cannot be put into words. She tearfully reminisces on what Shiner has done and how people, including herself, still talk about him like he's alive. His ashes rest in a beautiful oak box by her desk, and Carol still talks to him every day. Congratulations to Shining Spark on being inducted into the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Carol Rose and her team to the stage to accept on behalf of Shining Spark.
That way a little bit. Go that way a little bit. Watch that'll work. That'll work. Got it.
Tell me when I can start. Okay, the first thing tonight before I start, I want to thank our hosts. I want to thank the AQHA Foundation Board of Trustees, the Hall of Fame Committee, Chris Seitz, Nikki Silva, all your staff at the museum. You are phenomenal. Sorry, I'm not quite finished. Thank you, Carl Stressman, all of the AQHA Executive Committee, the past presidents, and the phenomenal AQHA staff. Thank you, Robin Brooks, Tammy Canada, Chelsea Butler. That staff is phenomenal, and they do so much for us. And ladies and gentlemen, let's have a hand for the AQHA. Thank you. You know, no one ever thought that Carol Rose was at a loss for words, but I am so humbled to be standing here tonight to accept an award for Shining Spark. It's the highest award an American quarter horse can receive. And none of this did I do by myself. But the first thing, I want to thank one of my very best friends, Cheryl Cody, for the nomination of Shining Spark. She did a phenomenal job, and you know, we lost Shining Spark like Frenchmans Guy in 221, and it's just phenomenal when they can be inducted this quickly into the Hall of Fame, and I couldn't do it without. I guess I can tell you that I've got the most phenomenal team surrounding me and surrounding Shining Spark that made this all possible. Because none of this did I do alone. Yes, I was their leader, but without them, it wouldn't have been possible. And a lot of that team is here tonight, and I definitely want to recognize them. The first one, my partner, business partner, and horse trainer for 25 years, Bobby Lewis, and Bobby is here tonight. And
You know, when Shining Sparks first, we test bred him, as I mentioned today, but his first really full crop of foals were born in 1996, and they went to the junior cow horse and junior roping at the AQHA World Show in 2000. And the World Show, to me, AQHA World Show, thank you AQHA, but it's the pinnacle for me. I mean, having an AQHA World Champion in the super horses, it just doesn't get any better than that. The first year we went, Bobby trained all the roping horses. First year we went, the junior heading, Shiner had obviously no world champions yet. That day, we were champion, reserve, third, and fourth with Shining Spark foals that Bobby Lewis trained, and it was amazing. And the very next night, a mare that I own named Watch Me Spark by Shining Spark, Avadocalina mare, won the junior cow horse, and the world championship and a reserve championship with another horse that we raised by Shiner out of Daco Dynamite mare. So, I mean, it was the very first year that we had the full crop, 2 world champions and 2 reserves and all this, and that's a dream, guys. I mean, those things just don't happen. So Bobby, and for years, Bobby bred some of his best mares and raised them phenomenal. And Bobby Lewis owns a mare by Docalina out of a Freckles Playboy daughter that produced a mare by Shining Spark that has, and this is breeding, Docalina Freckles Playboy. She's produced a mare in the reining. The mare has $800,000 of money earners in the reining in the way she's bred. That's by Shining Spark. So it's just, there's no telling, I can't believe to tell you how much Bobby's done for my program and for Shiner, but Shiner's done so much for himself because he could do so much. As I mentioned today, that I wouldn't be standing here tonight. Shining Spark wouldn't have done what he's done without the veterinarians that took care of him. Tonight, again, I want to introduce Dr. David Hartman and his wife, Ro, who told your applause to the last, and Dr. Dixon Varner and his wife, Trish. Dr. Joe Carter was Shiner's medical doctor. And Joe, you know, Shiner was very, very bow-legged. He had arthritis in his knees, and Joe was his medical doctor for many years and took wonderful care of him. In 2021, on the day after Christmas was a Sunday, and I called Joe and I said, Joe, Shiner's done. He's very sore, he hurts, and he's asking me to go to heaven. And I called Joe, and Joe came. He said, I'll be there tomorrow morning. And he came, and he told me, he said, he looked at him and he said, Carol, I think we could take him to the clinic and make him comfortable. And I looked at Shiner, and Shiner was standing in profile beside in his stall, and he was stomping his left hind foot, and then he'd look back at his belly, and then he'd just drop his head and look up at me with those big eyes, and he said, Mama, I need help. And thank you, Joe Carter. He made it so easy for us, and we said goodbye to Shiner that day. I was holding his head, and I couldn't, Joe was just awesome. Joe Carter is here tonight with his wife, Terry. And okay. I had a family friend staying with me for Christmas. Used to take care of my mother and my family friend for many, many years. And his name is Todd Wagner, and Todd was there, and he helped us with the euthanasia, and then I wanted to cremate Shiner. So Todd loaded him in the trailer, and we took him to a place in Oklahoma City to have him cremated. And 4 days later, Todd stayed long enough to go with me to pick him up. And tonight, Todd Wagner's here, and thank you, Todd. There's another veterinarian here tonight named Dr. Kate Jose. Kate came to me in 1999 as an intern from River Falls, Wisconsin, and she came to foal out mares. And in June, when Shining Spark became ill, Kate was through we were through foaling out, but she stayed an extra month to stay every night to be with Shining Spark, because she'd been working nights. And then she went to vet school, became a veterinarian, long story, and was Shiner's veterinarian until the end. And thank you, Kate, for being here tonight. That's okay, guys. You can hold your applause till the end, 'cause I got a few more. Okay. There are two ladies here tonight that worked in my office, each one for 11 years, at different times. Laura Woolley and Nikki Miller. Thank you so much for what you've done. Now, there's a lady here that has helped me so much. I've known her for 40 years. She does the pedigrees for all of us. She's from Yukon, Oklahoma, does work now for the AQHA, and she did all of Shiner's pedigrees for years, and she would be amazed at how I'd buy a mare with zero record. And just in a few years, we had a lot of black type, and she said, Carol, how do you do it? And I said, I don't do it, Shiny Spark does. Robin Glenn, where are you? And then today, those of you that were at the fireside chat, I introduced Cam Essick. Cam has done my advertising and my social media since they've had social media, but she's done all of Shining Sparks advertising for the last 30 years. And Cam, thank you. She's here tonight also. You know, there's absolutely no way, as you can see, I've been surrounded by fabulous people. And then I have some very good friends here also that support Shining Spark tonight. And today, those of you who were at the fireside chat, you heard Richie Bell talk about the Shiner mares he owned. Richie Bell is here tonight with his wife, Kathy, and his daughter, Lauren, and her husband, Garrett. And thank you, they're here. And then I have some marvelous friends that live close to me that were there with me when I lost Shining Spark, and so dear. Laura and Terry Friend are my neighbors from Lake Kiowa, Texas. Angie and Chad Evans from Pilot Point, Texas, very, very dear friends. Martina Tonello and Alex Barbanti, they live in Gainesville. They're very close friends. They're horse people. They're here to help us celebrate. There's somebody I should have said earlier that I'm sorry I missed over. You heard me today talk about Orrin Mixer and my love for Orrin Mixer, and he was like the brother I always wanted, and we're surrounded by Orrin Mixer. And today, Robert Mixer and his wife Jill came to help me celebrate Shining Spark. I have three more very, very dear friends, and just couldn't have better friends and lifetime friends. Paris Wixon came all the way from Alabama, and Susie and Joe Jean from College Station. Thank you so much for being here. I never look at my list, but I just want to make sure I didn't forget anybody. But there's one more thing. I had two men that worked for me. One of them worked for me for 25 years, and one has been, he's been with me 38 years. Even though I don't have a ranch anymore, he still comes and helps me whenever I need anything done. Gabriel Gonzalez and Luis Camacho they took care of Shining Spark. I don't know that Shining Spark would have lived as long as he did without Luis. And Gabriel was there before Shining Spark was born, and he took care of him. He took care of him for the first 20 years of his life. And last Sunday, they were supposed to be here tonight, and last Sunday, Gabriel is Luis's uncle. And last Sunday, Gabriel's mother, who's Luis's grandmother, passed away, and they had to go to Mexico. And that's why they're not here tonight, because you would have loved them, and they would have loved all of you. And anyway, again, I'm so proud, and I thank all my customers that keep breeding, and thank you, Dixon Varner. We're still breeding Shining Spark with HC, and I want to thank, and he's unbelievably popular, and I can't even begin to say thank you to all my customers, thank you to all the people who believe in him. I mean, just thank you to everybody, and thank you for this honor. I don't know how to, I mean, how do you get honored for doing your life's work? Thank you all very, very much.
Congratulations, Shining Spark. And now we honor Paul Jones.
When you come to a fork in the road, as famously advised by Yogi Berra, just take it. And Paul Jones took pretty much every fork on the way. Paul had been immersed in the industry for as long as he can remember. However, the forks in his road were not always paved in gold.
My father had a small barn. He never had a huge barn like I ended up having later. And he had mostly claiming horses and hard knocking horses, never any big stakes horses or any real good horses. So my father's barn, with his health issues and with some of the situations going on, was on a decline. His clients were far and few between, and the quality of horses was low. And also my dad was having financial issues. So it was hard to make ends meet and to be able to afford to keep the barn running. I had to come in taking over his barn. You know, I had to haul my own feed in. I couldn't get credit with the feed companies or the tax stops.
One of the greatest trainers in quarter horse racing history, Paul Jones, the Blanche-Fonneveld of his generation, holds the record of 14 AQHA Blanche-Fonneveld champion trainer titles. Following in his father's steps as a trainer at California's Los Alamitos racecourse, since 1990, Paul has conditioned the winners of more than 4,500 races, second only and closing to Schwaneveld's 5,348. American quarter horses that he sent to post have come back with the all-time record of more than $90 million in earnings, far and away more than anyone else, and almost twice as much as any currently active trainer.
There was a day when, in that time, my goal was just to win a stakes race. That was my goal. And then I won a stakes race. And then my goal was to be leading trainer. And then that was a tough one, but I finally became leading trainer. And then my goal was to win the All-American. And we accomplished that goal. And then obviously my goal was to be leading trainer in the nation and win the AQHA champion trainer title. And I was able to complete that one. But I still remember back to, I was just going to be happy to win one little stake race. That was my main goal. I never dreamed that I would ever accomplish what I've accomplished. And then to win the training title 14 years in a row is, you know, for me it's remarkable. I never would have thought, you know, back when I started, that young kid with 4 or 5 horses that really was not a factor in racing to become what I became.
Now 58, Paul has sent out the winners of more than 460 stakes with nearly 100 Grade 1 and restricted Grade 1 scores, including winning the All-American Futurity 3 times with Teller Cartel, No Secrets Here, and Running Brook Gal. Champion of Champions 6 times with Who's Leaving Who, The Downside, Cash for Cass, Wave Carver, Good Reason SA, and Riley's Boy, and the Los Alamitos 2 Million Futurity twice with a Regal Choice and Good Reason SA. Paul has scored 20 leading trainer titles at Los Alamitos, added another 20 as the Pacific Coast Quarter Horse Racing Association's leading trainer, and added more buckles leading the conditioners at Ruidoso Downs and Zia Park. In 2005, Paul saddled 280 winners at Los Alamitos alone, setting the track record for wins in a single year, while averaging 201 wins per year from 2001 to 2009 at the West Coast Citadel. In addition, a member of the Ruidoso Hall of Fame, Paul was honored by his peers with PCQHRA's 2022 Frank Vessel's Senior Memorial Award. With multiple years of service on the AQHA Racing Committee and various task forces, in 2009, Paul received the AQHA Gordon Crone Award for service to the industry.
Well, my sights now is just to run a small stable and enjoy what I do, be surrounded by good people, good clients, good horses, and still keep going and enjoying what I do. The exciting thing is, being that I have the earnings record, of all-time earnings as a quarter horse trainer. Every time one of my horses cross the wire, I break the record. Every time they make $1, I continue to break the record. So that's kind of a neat tidbit that kind of gives me a smile.
Numbers are nice, but they don't tell the whole story. Success on the track is not limited simply by the horses that a trainer conditions, but also, among other things, for whom the horses are being conditioned. A model of consistency, the Jones operation has fielded horses racing for some of the most prominent owners in the industry, including American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame members Abigail Kawana-Nakoa, Tom Bradbury, R.D. Hubbard, John Andrini, and AQHA past president Frank Scoop Vessels. In addition to training horses for clients, Paul alone and in partnerships also has bred and owned major sprinters such as Champion Foose and Grade 1 winner Favorite Cartel.
The difference what a racehorse trainer does, it's a big team. It's not just me and the horse. So it's a big team between me and the grooms and the jockeys and the assistants and the shoers and the vets and the jockey agents, as you've seen today, and the feed people. I mean, it's in the clients. It's a big organization to make one horse to race. It's not just me and the horse. So as a racehorse trainer, you're more of a coach, similar to a coach of a football team that puts everything together. So I'm responsible for the horse's health, the care, the training, the feed, the veterinary work, the shoeing, what kind of races they go into, who rides the horse. So as a racehorse trainer, I'm like a big coach of a sports team, and each one of the horses is a player.
Paul is pleased to say that he could not have achieved any of these accomplishments without the help of his team, owners, friends, and family, says his wife, Marin. Paul may have won many important races, but he is very humble and down to earth. When he comes home, he's a proud husband and father.
To be inducted into the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame is, to me, one of the ultimate achievements for my career. It's definitely a great honor. A lot of great people inducted into the Hall of Fame. A lot of great trainers and horse people. And the AQHA is definitely the most important Hall of Fames that a person can be inducted to in the horse business, especially in the quarter horse business, especially. But it's definitely something that really puts the cherry on top for my career.
Please welcome Paul Jones into the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Paul Jones, accompanied by his wife, Marion, and 2 daughters, Mia and Allie. He's receiving the prestigious Hall of Fame member pin, which is presented to each living human.
First of all, I would like to thank AQHA. I would like to thank the Hall of Fame committee. And I would like to thank all the staff with AQHA that's made this possible, especially through this process. They've really made me feel comfortable and made me feel important through this whole process. I really would like to give a big hand for all of them. Secondly, I'd like to thank a lot of the people that helped write nomination letters for me, including Orlando Gutierrez, Ty Wyant, Butch Wise, Terry Thompson, G.R. Carter, Sleepy Gilbreth, Jimmy Harrell, and Cody Jensen. I would like to give a really special thanks to Catherine Simmons for nominating me and doing a lot of hard work out of the kindness of her heart for this
award and this nomination. I would like to thank her very much. Thank you, Catherine. Also, I'd like to thank my family that's here with me tonight. My wife, she's been a big help throughout my career. My daughter's always by my side. They've always supported me 100%, whatever I do with the horses. Also, I'd like to thank my mother. She's not here tonight, but she's been my biggest supporter throughout my career, like mothers always are. I can't say enough how much she's been involved in my career. She still does all my billing today. Also, I'd like to thank all the clients that have made this possible, that send me and trust me with their good horses and trusted them horses with me to train. I'd like to thank all my employees throughout my career. Definitely I wouldn't be here without them. I would like to thank Lisa Salmel that's here tonight. It's been my loyal assistant for many years throughout my Ruidoso career. I couldn't have done it without her. So, anyways, I'm gonna make this short and sweet. I would like to thank all of you for attending tonight and being here. It's a great honor to be here amongst you all. And as I walked through the museum today and looked at all the nominees that were here before me in the Hall of Fame, it's just incredible to be amongst those people. There's so many great people in there. It's just amazing to me to even be in the same museum as them. And I'd also like to say it's a great honor, the people that are being inducted today and the horses and the people involved with those horses. Such a great group. I'm so lucky to be nominated and be up here on the same stage as them. It's a great honor, the whole thing. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Paul Jones. And now we honor J.D. Yates.
J.D. Yates, roper, horseman, and now a two-time Hall of Fame member in the same year. A two-time college rodeo champion and the youngest cowboy to ever qualify for the Wrangler National Finals Rodeo, which he did at age 15, J.D. has won more than $1.6 million in professional rodeo, qualified for the National Finals Rodeo 21 times, and the National Finals steer roping 13 times. At age 14, J.D. started roping heels behind his dad, Dick Yates. The father and son duo spent many hours on the road, traveling to rodeos and jackpots. The days were long between competitions, keeping the horses tuned and ready to haul, and fitting in time for school.
Well, you know, we rodeoed a lot, and you know, we did a lot of extra driving when I was a kid, and roping, and because my dad had a job, and so we would enter a lot of the rodeos that were fairly close to us, 3, 4, 5 hours away. He would work all morning. I didn't have a driver's license. We didn't have nobody with us. But he would get up and go to work daylight inspecting cattle because he was a brand inspector. And we would take off and go to rodeos, and I would be driving. And this is when I was still 14. All I wanted to do is go to school and get back home to the horses. And because I was not an athlete. Even though I would like to have been, but I was not very good, but I loved the horses, and I wouldn't put no time into trying to be good at anything but riding the horses and roping. That's all I cared about.
Time with the horses paid off in the long run for J.D. So far in his AQHA career, the 2004 AQHA Professional Horseman of the Year has garnered 47 world championships, 18 High Point Horse of the Year awards, and 10 Leading Open Exhibitor of the Year awards. He had a hand in the making of AQHA Super Horses, Smoke a Moki, Popular Resort Figure, RS Lily Starlight, Checks This Dooley, and BFR Igniting Sparks.
So we go to the World Show that year, and Dad with his horse and me with my horse. And I think there was 38 horses in the heading that year and 41 in the heeling. I kind of remember it. And we got to the finals, and of course people said, would you heel for me? Would you? Yeah, no problem, whatever you need. And I think I heeled for 12 of the 15 that made the finals that year on that horse that I was showing in the finals of the heeling.
One of the other reasons that we kind of geared JD into showing horses for the income and the longevity of making a living, and it's worked out. It worked out. It was kind of my thinking, but sometimes it don't always work that way. But that was kind of what we were doing.
JD has made an impact on people across the equine industry and the world. He has also used his influence abroad, helping build the American quarter horse and the Western way of life in South America.
I've been fortunate through rodeoing, showing horses, to get to go all over the country. Been at the quarter horse office in Australia, all through roping, through showing, through rodeoing, through meeting people. I have a tie to Brazil. I've been going over there for a lot of years, and honestly, love them people over there. They've accepted me as one of them, and they've treated me like $1 million in Brazil. Yeah, I went there because of AQHA.
Mr. Yates was one of my first heroes as a kid growing up in Brazil, importing to our country great horses, great horsemanship, and great roping, says Junior Nogueira, the 2016 PRCA All-Around Cowboy, 2020 AQHA World Championship Header, and 2021-22 PRCA World Championship Heeler. He took the time to spread the foundation and finer points of his horse program to hundreds of ropers in Brazil, building the industry there with his exceptionalism. From breaking barriers across borders to breaking equine barriers, JD blazed a trail across the industry. I can't imagine anybody being more qualified than JD to be in the Hall of Fame, as far as his success in the arena and his contributions to the Western industry as a whole, says Trevor Brazil, the Pro Rodeo Hall of Famer who has scored a record 26 PRCA world titles. With what he has done in the rodeo industry, as well as what he has been able to do in the horse show industry, he has had a really big impact on people like me who don't want to just choose one direction or the other in this business. We feel like there can be horsemanship and winning and rodeo, and he proved that before anyone else.
You know, I've been the luckiest person in the world to do what I do. Still to this day, get paid to do what I do and love to do it, and don't see no end in the future. You know, all of them mean the same to me, whether it's, you know, it don't matter where you win. If you win, it's a great win. And it don't matter how big the competition is, how little the competition is. To me, I get up every day, every morning to work to win. And I have the will to win.
The will to win runs through the Yates family blood. The Western lifestyle and love of horses is working on 3 generations. JD and his father qualified for the NFR 11 separate times, including the year that the Yates duo became the Yates trio at the national finals, when Dick and JD were roping together, and JD's sister Kelly qualified in barrel racing. JD shares his passion for roping with his son Trey, a college rodeo champion who has qualified for the national finals 3 times. JD's mother passed away in 2019 and was the glue that held the family together, both her own family and her rodeo family. There were no cell phones or internet, so to enter rodeos, someone had to call and stay on hold for hours at a time to get entered. Mama Jan helped everyone by entering them all up, hosting rodeo kids and their families overnight at the family home in Pueblo while they were hauling, cooking meals, and doing laundry. Guidelines guide JD and continue to do so as he enters the next chapter of his career.
Man, I don't know what the next 20 years look like. I just know that I have no intention of retiring. I have no intention of going anywhere. I have an intention of being a thorn in everybody's side, trying to still be one of the guys and try to be as good as I can be.
Good is just the beginning. JD, in addition to his achievements in the saddle, has been involved in steering the direction of the industry by leading outside of the arena. He carries a specialized judges card, has served on the AQHA Judges Committee and a number of task forces, been a member of AQHA Team Wrangler, and has recorded AQHA training videos on roping and horsemanship.
I'm just lucky that I get to ride that horse that can be a showcase. And helping him get to that point and helping me get to that point, it's been a long, long trail and a long ride, but it's been a good ride. I don't get up every day and go to work and be satisfied. I want that next win. Now, I want to state that it's going to be hard to top these 2 wins this year that I've had, but a few more would make them better. And so you know, I get up every day, go to work, and because I want to be as good as I can be every day.
2 Hall of Fame inductions will be hard to top indeed. Adding to his repertoire of accolades, J.D. Yates to the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame.
Help me in welcoming to the stage J.D. Yates. He's also receiving the prestigious Hall of Fame member pin, which is presented to each living human inductee.
You know, I had a speech all prepared till I got here tonight. I'll be all right. Get that whiskey up here. I walked in this building and a man walked up and shook my hand. Kind of bothered me a little. Was my biggest competitor, and I learned the most on how to win in the horse shows. And I want to thank Bobby Lewis for that. So we thank everybody, but my biggest thanks goes to this horse, because we all wouldn't be here without him. So this horse, it means everything to me. And, you know, the clientele, the friendship, the things that I built through this industry and through the horses and through this association there's nothing like it. I don't know that I could have built that anywhere else or had the friends and had the clientele and the clientele that give you the horses, give me the opportunity to showcase their horse, but in reality, I was showcasing myself and trying to make that horse as good as he was. But you know, there was very few people, except that one guy I was talking about, that was as eager to win as me. And you know, I always knew if I could get around him, I had a chance to win. But I had you know, the people from the Dominican Republic through AQHA, they're the ones that nominated me to get in this Hall of Fame. My friends in Brazil, can't thank them enough. But it all come through this horse. And so it's been a good ride. Been a good ride. I got a story I want to tell, and I'll be done. So I think I was put on this life, in this world of rodeo. I really do. I think that's where my career started. I was a little boy, pain in the ass, I'm sure, around a lot of rodeos and a lot of places. And one day, my dad got up and he said, "Hey, if you want to, get ready. We're going to go to the Denver Stock Show tomorrow." I'm a little boy. I didn't ask why. I was like, "Yeah, let's go. You know, I'll be up, no doubt." I get rise early. We get up early that morning, or I get up early that morning, and we go to Denver at the stock show, and they're having the horse show. And my dad's entered in the calf roping. So he ropes calves, and of course, where am I? I'm a pain in the ass. I'm out there trying to rope the calves when they turn them loose, and then he ain't ready to go. He's not ready to go. So I just go back in the calf pen, and I'm roping calves back there. A few hours goes by, he comes back to get me. He says, "You ready to go?" "Yeah." And this guy is following him, trying to buy his horse. Well, knowing our financial situation, I'm thinking, how come my dad ain't selling this horse? We're driving home, and I said, "How come you didn't sell this horse?" "He didn't give me what I wanted." Good enough. I go to sleep in the truck, and we get home and don't think nothing about it. And, you know, later that year, they have the Colorado State Fair horse show. And we go to the Colorado State Fair, and he's got his black mare. And after he showed her at Denver in the calf roping and the rain, and he shows her at Pueblo in the calf roping, sure enough, I'm out there trying to rope the calves. And then it's over, and he ain't ready to go home. So I'm down in the calf pen roping the calves. And they have the reining. And he wins the calf roping and wins the reining on the same horse. And he ain't ready to go, and he ain't ready to go. Finally, he comes and gets me. He said, "We're going to go." I said, "Where are we going?" "We're going home." "Where's your horse?" "I sold my horse." I said, "You sold your horse?" "To that same guy that's been following you around since Denver?" Yeah, I sold my horse." He said, "Do you know who that guy is?" I said, "No, I don't have any idea." So I'd kind of dropped it for a while, and I'm coming to the moral of the story. The moral of the story is I might have been put on this world a show too, not just a rodeo. So thank you all very much for your time.
Congratulations, JD. Well, our final inductee for the evening is AQHA past president, Dr. Jim Heird.
If walks of life can be gauged by what one leaves behind, broadening the world of others ranks high. In the academic realm, the measure is what's built for students and what they carry with them on their walks. Dr. Jim Heird's measurement spanned half a century. Jim's introduction to the horse industry began with work horses. His earliest memory of horses is from behind a team with his father, who had gaited horses, working horses, and mules when Jim was a boy. That is, until they met the American quarter horse.
My dad came home one day in the early 60s. I don't remember exact day or year. We had walking horses and gaited horses and work horses and mules. And he came home one day and he said, "We need to go over to Mr. George Ross's and see this new breed of horse that he has from out west." And I said, "What is it?" And he said, "It's called the quarter horse." And so he had read up on it. And so we went over to Mr. Ross's and saw this quarter horse. He's actually a son of Wimpy. I remember it very, very well.
Horses were something special that Jim and his father shared for the 14 years that Jim had with him.
My dad died when I was 14, and so Mr. Ross became almost like a second father. And I worked for him and rode his horses, and then he opened a lot of doors for me down the road. But that was my introduction, and that was the last time I ever rode a walking horse or gaited horse. I remember how good a disposition these horses had and how quiet they were. If you've been around gaited horses, they're a little more spirited, and the walking horses are quiet, but they have a different gait. My real memory was how gentle this horse was. It was love at first sight, I guess.
Jim began riding for Mr. Ross and started showing in local shows and eventually with registered American quarter horse shows. When Jim was a sophomore in college, he started working for L&L Ranch in Dothan, Alabama, who at the time were the leading breeders east of the Mississippi and was owned by former AQHA director J.L. Adams and managed by Roy Nolan, who is still one of the most influential horsemen that Jim has ever met. The opportunities that came to Jim after this experience are many. Jim earned his Bachelor and Master of Science degrees at the University of Tennessee while coaching the university's horse judging team. He also showed his own horses, including the all-around horse in Tennessee one year.
I was given the opportunity to be a student assistant as an undergraduate, and I found that I really enjoyed teaching, and I enjoyed sharing information with students. And so I stayed at the University of Tennessee and did my master's and coached the horse judging team. That was my first experience coaching a judging team.
In 1972, Jim was appointed the North Carolina State University Horse Extension Specialist, building the state's 4-H program to include horse shows, horse judging, speech contests, and demonstration competitions.
I became the first horse specialist at North Carolina State University. Started the 4-H horse program all over the state, started the 4-H horse show, the 4-H judging contest. When I went there, they had 4-H programs, I think, in under 20 counties. There's 100 counties in North Carolina, and when I left, there were 4-H programs in 98 of them. So it's always intrigued me as to how do you give to an industry that you love, and I think I did that.
To list just some of his accomplishments, Jim has helped countless programs, institutions, and individuals grow and succeed in the industry that we are all so passionate about. He helped raise the money to build an equine breeding facility and training programs for Texas Tech University by teaming up with the Wagoner and Pitchfork ranches, started a judging program there, and got his PhD. He helped Colorado State University expand the collegiate horse program at Fort Collins, as well as served in several different positions that required hard work and sacrifice. He moved to Texas A&M to help the Dean of Texas A&M's College of Veterinary Medicine build a joint office between A&M's animal science and veterinary programs. The Dean, Dr. Eleanor Green, is now Jim's wife, and together they have 5 children. Jim has served AQHA as chairman on the Judges, International and Show Committees, Show Council, and AQHA Animal Welfare Commission. Elected to the AQHA Executive Committee in 2015, he became AQHA President in 2018.
Glenn Blodgett was president, Sandy Arledge was first vice president, and Ralph Seekins was second vice president. And then Butch Wise came on, and Norm Luba, and Dr. Scott Myers came on after that. And so that's the people that I worked with. You have to have a passion for the association, for our horse, for our members to do a great job. It was fun to do stuff like that and have an impact to preserve our association. Again, I think the welfare and the emphasis that we had on welfare. We had several summits of our international members that I think were important. We gave our international more visibility and more recognition, more help with seminars and clinics and that sort of thing. The racing, we began to look at drug control in racing and ranching. We reorganized the selection of the Best Remuda Award. We created the International Best Remuda Award.
Dr. Heird is one of the most passionate men in the quarter horse industry, and his passion lies in teaching and welcoming as many people as possible into the equine industry. He has a heart for the youth and welcoming people from all walks of life to love the American quarter horse.
You know, if somebody were to ask me about getting into the quarter horse industry, I would tell them that there's room for everyone. You don't have to own a 200,000-acre ranch. You don't have to be on television. We have plenty of pleasure horses, recreational horses, and recreational activities that anybody could do.
And if you ask any of his students, they will tell you he is a huge part of their success, that his coaching has taught them to align their thoughts and gave them confidence and a sense of empowerment that is irreplaceable.
I think convincing young people that they're capable. So much of the publicity tells them they're not. And then listening to their dreams and their ambitions and helping them reach those, I think is that's all they want. just somebody to listen to them.
That's the impact of a lifetime spent broadening the world of others. Please welcome Dr. Jim Heird into the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame.
Please welcome Dr. Jim Heird. He's also receiving the prestigious Hall of Fame member pin.
Thank you, Dr. Myers. Wow, what an amazing 2 days. I mentioned my father this afternoon, and I want to start with a little story. I told you this afternoon he was a very interesting man, very quiet, quick-witted, and was really respected by our neighbors in East Tennessee. One evening, some of the neighbors came over to our house to get his thoughts on the fact that our local Presbyterian minister had had an affair with a local school teacher. I'm not making this up. When asked what he thought, my dad was silent for a few seconds and then said, "I guess I feel a little like the boy that got run over by the mule. I'm just not sure what to say." Well, that's how I feel tonight. At a time like this, it's difficult to know what to say or even where to begin. Needless to say, this is an humbling experience for me. It's also been an unbelievable time of reflection. What I do know is that I'm proud of my association with AQHA. I'm also proud of my work with students, judging teams, various organizations, multiple universities, and of course, with horses. I've been blessed to be able to affect the lives of a lot of people in a lot of ways. Horses, horse people, and the horse industry have been my life for 60 years. I've always been thankful to the horses and people that have been in my life and have influenced me. I still am. I was blessed to work for institutions that allowed me the freedom to influence our industry. I was also blessed to have some outstanding students in my career who not only were great leaders at school, but continued to lead and make an impact after they entered the industry. I'm thankful that as a 40-year AQHA judge, I was able to judge some of our breed's legendary horses, meet some of our legendary owners, breeders, and trainers. All in all, it's been an amazing life for me. I want to thank the AQHA Foundation and Hall of Fame and its selection committee for this unbelievable honor. I'm especially honored to be inducted this year with two friends, truly deserving men in JD and Paul, and three prestigious and deserving horses. Now, I can assure you that as a young kid growing up on that tobacco farm in East Tennessee, following a mule up and down the rows, I never ever thought such a recognition as this was possible. In fact, until I was a teenager, as they said in the video, I didn't even know what a quarter horse was. And as I said, my dad came home one day and said, "We need to go to George Ross's place and see this new breed of horse that he brought in from out west," which was Arkansas, if you were from East Tennessee. And I told you this afternoon, I said, "Well, why this horse?" And he said, "Well, they were developed out west. They're used on ranches. They have a great disposition." And I teased our show horse people this afternoon. He said, "And they don't require a trainer to be able to show them." So we went to Mr. Ross's place one Sunday afternoon, and I saw my first American quarter horse. I was impressed. Before we left, Mr. Ross invited me to come back anytime and said he would let me work with his quarter horses. My dad died the next year, and Mr. Ross became like a second father to me till I graduated from college. I showed horses for him, and he taught me how to train softly and humanely. I know that he helped to instill in me many of the beliefs that I had as I began to work with the AQHA Animal Welfare Commission. Like everyone ever inducted into this Hall of Fame, there are a lot of people I need to thank. None of us ever gets anywhere in life without the support of other people. And those of you who know me, you know that's certainly true in my case. I'm going to start with my parents. Although we didn't have a lot of money, they found a way to give me a chance to do what I was passionate about, which was working with horses. While in college, Mr. Ross got me a summer job at L&L Farms in Dothan, Alabama, the leading breeder east of the Mississippi at that time. There I got to work with a man by the name of Roy Nolan, the farm manager and trainer. To this day, he is the greatest horseman I have ever known. He could handle stallions, broodmares, stark colts, and show and win in every event with great success. I worked there 2 summers and every long break all the way through college. I learned an unbelievable amount from Roy, made a lot of contacts, and have used that knowledge and those contacts throughout my life. Of course, as I think of people who I owe gratitude, I want to thank my children, Bev and Josh. Sometimes we don't think about the sacrifices our families make when we're being active in an industry such as the horse industry. I'm proud of both of my children and the adults that they have become. By the way, yes, for those of you who've asked, these are the same 2 kids that played under the bleachers at Bill Cody Arena in the dirt every time we had a horse show there when they were growing up. So, Bev just left John Deere after 24 years of working for John Deere. She has 3 boys, Jack and her 14-year-old twins, Josh and Alex. They live in Overland Park, Kansas. My son Josh is the athletic director at the University of Louisville and couldn't be here today because they have a football game in Louisville, which they won 49-14. Go Cards. He and his wife Abby have 2 children, Adley and Gus. By the way, Bev and Josh's mother is Debbie Jones, who, as many of you know, has an extensive background in AQHA and has 2 parents in the Hall of Fame. A little over 15 years ago, I met and married Dr. Eleanor Green, and she changed my life. She's not only a very talented horsewoman and an equine veterinarian, but is also an unbelievable person who has made my life joyful and fulfilled. It's hard to put into words what she means to me, but it isn't hard to say thank you to her for all that she does to make my life better. There's a lot of other people to say thank you to, but as you know, Chip, I may have you come up and finish this. I could put a long list. As you can imagine, there's a long list I could say thank you to. But those of you who know me, you already know how much you mean to me. So everyone in this room who has helped me, thank you. Thank you to everyone. Before I close, I want to recognize a few very special people. I want to start by remembering Dr. Glenn Blodgett for his friendship and his contributions to our industry. We miss him every day, and now that he's gone, we recognize even more how much of a leader he was for our total industry. We have some special friends at our table that I want to mention, or start with my wife Eleanor and daughter Bev. Red and Gail Stegall are at our table. They're not only treasured friends of mine and Eleanor's, but are great Americans who love the American quarter horse. Their talents and generosity are well known in our quarter horse family. John Snoblen is at our table. John and I have been friends for 40 years. He's a member of the NRHA Hall of Fame. Among other things, was Minister of Education and Natural Resources in Ontario. He was the person NRHA chose to teach judges about the new scoring system that we all think is commonplace today. Let me tell you, when he started teaching us, it was not commonplace. We also have Harris Hartman and Amy Wendell at our table. They are friends who moved to Texas from California a short time ago. There are 2 of maybe 3 people, 3 groups that we're glad to have in Texas from California.
Also at our table is our friend Leroy Montalvo, Horse Division Manager at King Ranch. One of my greatest honors is that I've got to work on some of the historic ranches here in Texas and across the country to work with their mayors and their selection program. What an honor that has been. Even though there isn't anyone here from these, well, I guess there's somebody here from Mexico. I want to thank my friends from Uruguay, Argentina, Paraguay, Brazil, Costa Rica, and Mexico who have meant so much to me through the years. You can't believe how passionate these people are for our American quarter horse. We have to trust that our association will continue to support their efforts to expand our horse into their countries. Finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention some of the AQHA leaders who gave me a chance to be of service to the association. Ronnie Blackwell, Bill Brewer, Don Treadway, and Greg Huffines I worked with closely. Carl, I didn't get a chance to work with you, but I wish I had. I've had the chance to work with some unbelievable and unselfish leaders and staff in the association. I appreciate them giving me a chance to serve AQHA. And of course, like all members of the executive committee, I served in my case 4 years with an unbelievable group of dedicated people on the EC who, like each executive committee, gave and still give a lot of their time and talents to this association. The same goes for all of the past presidents through the years. They are such a valuable resource to this association and its leaders. It's always hard to know where to close on something like this. I could go on for hours, and probably some of you are beginning to think I have, and certainly some of the people that are running this probably think I'm going to. But I'm going to close by again saying how honored I am to be inducted into our Hall of Fame along with such a great group of people and horses. Thank you. I am sincerely humbled and appreciative.
Thank you, Dr. Heird. Let's give one more round of applause for our 2024 Hall of Fame inductees. Thanks again to our generous underwriters for supporting this amazing event tonight. Before we wrap up, we want to invite each Hall of Fame member and representatives in attendance with us tonight to join us up at the front of the room for a reunion photo. The photos and videos of tonight's honorees will be available after September 16th on AQHA's YouTube channel and on the Foundation's celebration page. We hope you share those videos and your stories with your friends and family. So thank you for joining us tonight, and we wish everyone safe travels. Good evening, and God bless.